Today we will discuss dual nature of light. Light has two natures, and in the beginning of 19th century, the wave nature of light was established. And so many properties of light like reflection, refraction, interference, diffraction, polarization, all these properties could be explained in a very fine way using wave description of light. And during the same time, in 1801, Thomas Young showed alternate bright and dark fringes on a screen by taking two light radiations from a coherent source. And when these light radiations interfere, they produced alternate bright fringes and dark fringes. And you know that when two masses are added, the net mass cannot be zero. So if the light was a particle, it was a mass, then the two light radiations interfere and it should not produce zero light at some positions, at minima. So particle nature of light was discarded at that time, and then people thought that light is a wave. You can also compare this alternate bright and dark fringes with that of water wave forming on the surface of water when you produce some disturbance on the surface of water. Here you have alternate maxima and minima. You have crest and trough. So at that time, wave nature of light was fully established. But during the same time, near about in 1887, people observed photoelectric effect and then Crompton effect. And the two effects could not be explained by the wave description of light. So what is photoelectric effect? When light falls on any metal surface, here light is falling, then electrons comes out and starts moving, a current is created. So electron has come out by the energy of light, and then you have energy of current. So the main idea behind observing the nature of light, to observe the nature of light, is to compare the energies of the two, and you will find that in wave description the energies were not matching. So let us see all these things, how this was established, that when ray of light interact with any metal surface, any matter, then it does not behave like wave, it behaves like particle. So here you have light wave. E is equal to E naught sin omega t. E is time varying electric field, and E naught is electric field amplitude, means maximum value of electric field. What is amplitude? Here you can see. When this can be explained with the help of a waveform created on the surface of water. So you can see that some particles is displaced from zero disturbance line to maximum displacement line, and this maximum displacement along any one direction is termed as amplitude. So when intensity is maximum, then that intensity is called intensity amplitude. Now, intensity of any wave, light wave or sound wave, is proportional to square of this amplitude, and intensity is equal to energy per unit time per unit area. So you see that this term in equation of light wave is related to energy. Energy is associated with only this term. intensity of light is associated with only this term. So how will you change the amplitude? And then when you will change the amplitude, intensity will be changed. So if you could remember, when a wave is created and from the point of disturbance, when waveform is created, then it, after traveling some distance, it dies out. So you'll find that amplitude is largest near the point of disturbance, and as you go away from the point of disturbance, this amplitude reduces. So when amplitude reduces, this amplitude reduces with distance, so the intensity also is reduced and energy of the wave also is reduced with distance. This is one thing. And another thing, you have here frequency, angular frequency omega. So how to change the frequency? Because we will be varying these quantities and we will be observing the corresponding variation in the current created by the light wave. We have 7 EM radiations: radio waves, microwaves, infrared radiation, visible light, UV radiations, X-ray and gamma ray. And when you come down in this sequence, the frequency goes on increasing. So if you are to select a radiation with a larger frequency, you will select any EM radiation which is in lower order in this sequence. Now, for establishing the nature of light, we are to convert the light into electric current. So for that we need a vacuum tube. Here is a glass tube which is evacuated from the inside. And this glass tube contains 2 electrodes, a cathode and an anode. And these are connected to a source of electricity, AC or DC source. Now, William Crook observed that when electric field across these electrodes is very high, electric field is of the order of 10 to the power 8 volt per meter. And when pressure is very low, 0.01 millimeter of Hg, then William Crook observed that the whole space in the glass tube becomes dark and a radiation comes out from cathode and it glows the wall just opposite to it. So since the radiation was coming from cathode, he named the radiation as cathode ray. And on further investigation, J.J. Thomson found that this cathode ray is actually electrons. It is made up of electrons. And the color of glow depends on the nature of glass. For soda glass, the color of glow will be yellowish green. So now, using the same vacuum tube, Heinrich Hertz observed photoelectric effect. So what is photoelectric effect? So he made a change in this vacuum tube. He connected an extension of a window near cathode and keeping the electric field such high, 10 to the power 8 volt per meter, such high electric field, and keeping the pressure very low, 0.01 millimeter of Hg. Now when he irradiated the cathode with UV radiations, he found that the glow on the wall has enhanced. So he said that When EM radiation falls on any metal plate, then electrons come out. And due to those electrons, this glow has enhanced. So what is photoelectric effect? When any metal plate is irradiated with EM radiations of suitable frequency, then electrons come out. And this effect is called photoelectric effect. We know that in a neutral metal, we have both positive and negative kind of electrons, positive protons and negative electrons. So when electrons tries to come out from the metal, it leaves behind positive ions. So unlike charges are created in this neutral metal, and there will be force of attraction between these unlike charges. So it will be difficult for electron to come out from the metal surface unless it is given some energy to overcome that force of attraction. So when light radiation incident on the metal, it gives energy so that electron could come out from the metal surface, and that minimum energy is called work function. This work function depends on nature of the surface, roughness of surface, smoothness of surface. It depends on that nature, and it also depends on property of metal. So work function depends on two things: nature of the surface and properties of metal. This work function is energy, and its unit for atomic particle and for subatomic particle, nuclear particle, is electron volt. Now let me define electron volt. When an electron is accelerated in a potential difference of 1 volt, then the energy associated with electron is equal to 1 electron volt. You can convert electron volt in joule also. Joule is your SI unit of energy. So when you put the charge on 1 electron, that is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, then EV can be converted into joule. Because here volt is already SI unit and you have converted charge into coulomb. Coulomb is also SI unit. So 1 electron volt has changed into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. Now there are some metals like cadmium metal, zinc metal, magnesium. All these can give out electron only when these metals are irradiated with UV radiation. You cannot take out electron from these metals when you irradiate these metals with simple visible light. So a minimum frequency is needed. Now for alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium, cesium, all these metals, you can take out electron from these metals by irradiating the metal with only visible light. So we found that for different metals we need different work functions for getting electrons outside the metal surface. Here we have list of work function of some metals. Cesium has smallest work function, 2.14 electron volt. So this was how Heinrich Hertz defined photoelectric effect. Now this was further investigated by Wilhelm Helmholtz and Philipp Lenard, and they produced analysis to show how wave nature is not related to your photoelectric effect. So, firstly, Wilhelm Helmholtz, individually, he did experiment with this your electroscope. He took a charged electroscope. This is a charged electroscope with negative charges. So the negative charges, due to the negative charges, these gold leaves will be repelling each other. And the same negative charges was there also on the metal plate. As all these are single conducting system. So when Wilhelm Helmholtz irradiated this metal plate with UV radiation, he found that the gold leaf foils which are repelling each other, they come close to each other after this metal plate was irradiated with UV radiation. It suggests that now the force of repulsion between the gold leaf is reduced, and it suggests that now the charges on gold leaf is reduced. So it suggests that electrons have been emitted by this metal plate when the metal plate is irradiated with UV radiations. Now Wilhelm Helmholtz and Philipp Lenard, they jointly did observations to establish the nature of light by constituting a current using vacuum tube. So they used a vacuum tube and they connected the vacuum tube with an outer electrical circuit which was consisting of an ammeter, so that they can exactly measure the current flowing in the outer circuit, and it was consisting of a voltmeter also, and it had a source of electricity, and you can see a commutator also which could change the polarity of current in this your vacuum tube. So initially when EM radiation does not irradiate the cathode plate, there was no current. There was no current because of vacuum created inside. Here there was vacuum. So no current could flow even if the potential difference is very high. So now when the cathode is irradiated with a source of EM radiation, current starts flowing. So you can see that the energy of EM radiation should match the energy of the flow of current. And you have these quantities. Here E naught is actually amplitude, electric field amplitude. Omega is your frequency, and you can change the nature of plate. You can take zinc plate, you can take any other material, copper plate, you can take platinum plate, lead plate, any electrode plate. Now here you have oscillating potential, or you can say accelerating potential. And by changing any one, keeping the rest constant, and by looking the corresponding change in current, you can establish a relationship between the two quantities. So this is your first observation. They kept frequency, accelerating potential, and electrode plate, everything constant, and they changed intensity of light, and they found the corresponding change in the current in this ammeter. So they found that when intensity is changed, when the source is near, intensity is large. When the source is far, then the intensity is small. So they found that when intensity is large, current also is large. When intensity is small, current also is small. So they observed that current is varying directly with intensity. Now they kept amplitude, frequency, and nature of the electrode plate constant, and they varied oscillating potential. You can also say accelerating potential on anode plate. So when potential increased on anode plate, which is positive potential, so it will attract electrons. And when potential is small, less number of electron will be attracted and it will be sent to outer circuit and current will be small. So here in this graph you can see that when potential is small, current is small, but when positive potential is large, then it will attract large number of electrons. Electrostatic force of attraction will be large and more current will flow in outer circuit and current will be large. Now, after certain potential, they found that current becomes constant. It has constant value and that constant value is called saturation current. So this was one observation. Now when they change the polarity of this anode plate using this commutator, now when this anode plate is made negative, the negative anode plate will repel the negative electrons. And now only most energetic electron will overcome this force of repulsion and will go in this circuit and it will constitute a current. So when the electrons are repelled, most of the electrons are repelled, so the value of current will reduce when a negative polarity potential is applied on anode plate. So here you can observe the nature of graph. When retarding potential is applied on anode plate, negative potential is applied on anode plate, then current decreases very steep. And at one value of this retarding potential V0, the current becomes zero, as most energetic electron is also repelled. So when electron does not come in outer circuit, then there will be zero current. So this was one observation. Current becomes zero and that potential is called stopping potential. Potential is work done per unit charge. So if you take potential V, work done W and charge E, then work done is equal to EV. And you know that energy is capacity to do work. So energy is equal to EV and energy of stopping potential. This potential will be equal to EV naught. So you see that energy in this current, energy of the moving charge is associated with potential EV naught or EV. And their energy in wave description of light is associated with amplitude, with its intensity. Okay, so now next observation. He did the same experiment and this was at constant value of intensity I1. Now the same experiment was done on constant value of intensity I2 and I3 and they found that stopping potential for all the intensities of light is same. Stopping potential does not vary. Only saturation current varies. For smaller intensity of light, saturation current is small. For larger intensity of light, saturation current is large. So these were the observations. Now one thing you will appreciate, that here the energy of the current is associated with EV and it is not changing. And energy in wave description of light is associated with intensity and this is changing. So this current is created by light, and here if you go on increasing the energy of light in wave description, energy of current is not changing. So these are the observations. Here you can say that saturation current varies directly with intensity of light, you can see. But stopping potential does not vary with the intensity of light. So these were the two observations. Now what happens when you change the frequency? The same graph, the same variation of accelerating potential with that of photocurrent. Now when intensity of light is kept constant and when frequency is varied, then they found different stopping potentials. So stopping potential is related to frequency. When you increase the frequency, stopping potential is also increased. So this was one observation. Now second one, you can see that when frequency is changed, there is no change in saturation current and even there is no change in photocurrent, in the magnitude of photocurrent. And next observation was that below a certain frequency, there is no current, photocurrent. Next observation was when we increase frequency, stopping potential is also increased. And the next observation was there is no effect on saturation current. You can see saturation current remains constant. Photocurrent remains constant with the change of frequency. Saturation current remains the constant with the change of frequency. But with the change of frequency, you can see stopping potential is changing. And last observation, when frequency is above the minimum frequency, threshold frequency, then electrons come out with no time delay. Stopping potential changes with frequency and there is a minimum frequency below which there is no photocurrent. So you can draw a graph of this nature because they are varying directly and there is a minimum frequency. So you cannot draw graph from here because you need a minimum frequency. So this is the nature of graph as per observation. Till yet I have not given explanation. These all are observation made by Wilhelm Helvachez and Philip Lenard. Now let me summarize all those observations. So you saw that current is varying directly with intensity, photocurrent and then saturation current is also directly varying with intensity. Stopping potential, we saw that it is varying directly with frequency. And emission of electron is instantaneous. There is no time delay. It takes a time nearly of the order of 10 to power minus 9 seconds. Wave description of light fails to explain photoelectric effect. So you know that in a wave, like in water wave, each particle oscillates to and fro continuously. It is a continuous process. And in a wave, you will find that several particles are oscillating to and fro. So the energy in one wavelength is distributed to all the particles. And one electron in metal need an energy which is equal to work function. Like for cesium, it is 2.14 electron volt. And to get such energy, it needs 5-6 hours. So in wave description of light, photoelectric effect should take place in 5-6 hours. But observation is different. This photo emission is instantaneous. So here wave description of photoelectric effect fails. Now second observation. We know that in wave description, energy is related to amplitude and intensity. And in any electrical current, in any circuit, energy of moving charge is associated with electron volt. But when you will find a diagram And you will see that intensity is increased, intensity of light wave you are increasing, energy is increasing, but energy of moving charges, which is equal to electron volt, it is not increasing, it remains constant. So here also photoelectric effect could not be explained by wave description of light, because in wave only energy is associated with your amplitude E naught. So it could not be explained. And next, in wave description there is no need to have the smallest frequency, because in wave description energy is not related to frequency, energy is related to amplitude, and energy is related to intensity. So when intensity is large, amplitude is large, so it will be able to give sufficient energy to electron so that electron may come out. So there is no need of threshold frequency in wave description. So all these observations fail the description of photoelectric effect on the basis of wave nature of light. Now Einstein explained photoelectric effect by considering the energy quantum of radiation. According to him, light is quanta packet of energy, and each packet has energy equal to h nu, where h is Planck's constant and nu is frequency. So now one more thing. So when retarding potential, negative potential is applied on anode such that the negative electrons are repelled, only most energetic electron will overcome this force of repulsion and will go in outer circuit and will constitute current. Now when stopping potential energy EV0 is such that it stops the most energetic electron too, then no electron will come in outer circuit and current will become zero. So this suggests that when current becomes equal to zero, then stopping potential energy is equal to energy of most kinetic energy max of most energetic electron, because it just equals that energy, so that electron also stops. So now you can write an equation, kinetic energy max, and it will be equal to the energy given by EM radiation h nu and minus of the energy which has been used by electron in coming out from the metal, work function. So this is the Einstein equation. Ke max is equal to EV0, and this is equal to h nu minus work function phi naught. Now it can explain all the observations we have made till yet. So this is your equation of Einstein photoelectric equation. Now if you compare this equation with a equation of line, that is y is equal to mx plus c. This is equation of line in slope form where m is slope. So what is slope and what is this c? Intercept, let us see. Here you have line y is equal to mx plus c, and the cut on y axis is called intercept. This is your intercept. Now slope. What is slope m? Slope m is equal to tan theta, the theta where theta is angle made by this line with x-axis. Now when you compare the two equations, when y is similar, you will find that y is similar to stopping potential and x is equivalent to frequency. So when you draw a graph between y and x and it is a straight line, so a graph between potential and frequency also should be a straight line. But here intercept is negative, so the cut will be along negative y axis. So here you have a graph. You can see frequency versus stopping potential graph is a straight line, and this observation is explained by Einstein this equation. Now second observation, let me show you. You know that kinetic energy cannot be zero, because when velocity is greater than zero, then only kinetic energy comes into existence. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So kinetic energy should always be greater than zero. And it is equal to h nu minus a work function phi naught, and therefore h nu is greater than h nu naught, and therefore nu should be greater than nu naught, and here nu naught is called threshold frequency. So it explains that there should be a minimum frequency, and below that frequency there cannot be any photocurrent. Here you have minimum frequency, and below this frequency there is no photocurrent. So two explanations are there. Now next explanation. And observation was photocurrent was proportional to intensity, and Einstein explained intensity differently. He said that intensity is proportional to number of light quanta, number of packets per unit time per unit area. So now here intensity is explained in the terms of number of packets of energy. So let me explain. Suppose you have any metal with all the electrons arranged along its surface. Now if light is very intense, intensity is very high, so number of packets of quanta, packets of energy will be large if intensity is large, and these packets will interact with electrons, and these events are individual events. Now as soon as they interact with electrons, in no time they transfer the energy. Just like two marbles collide and they transfer the energy and they are separated from each other. So as soon as these packets of energy collides with electron, energy is transferred, and in no time the electron will come out from the metal surface if the energy is sufficient to overcome the force of attraction, if the energy is greater than work function. So this explains that if the number of quanta is more, then more number of electron will come out, and more number of electron will go in outer circuit, and then the current will be large. And this explains that when intensity of light is large, photoelectric current will also be large, means they are varying directly. So the nature of the graph will be a straight line. In the same way, you can explain the saturation current. When intensity is large, number of quanta of energy, packets of energy is large, they will be interacting with large number of electron at saturation point also. So the saturation current will be large. So when you will increase the intensity, saturation current will be increased. There is direct variation. So intensity of light and saturation current, I saturation, are varying directly. You will have a straight line. So you could see that all the observations are explained in a very nice way by Einstein's photoelectric effect. Now one more observation, last observation, that why on increasing potential current is increased initially and why then after current becomes constant. So look here. When you have accelerating potential, positive potential applied here, it will attract electrons which is of negative polarity. So if this potential is small, then small number of electron will be attracted and small number of electron will be going in outer circuit through emitter and current will be small. But if you increase the accelerating positive potential on anode, then it will attract more number of electrons and more number of electron will go in outer circuit and the current will be large. But finally, if the energy of accelerating potential of positive plate is such a high, if potential is high, then it will attract all the electrons coming out per unit time. And if you further increase the potential, then number of electrons coming out per unit time is a constant. It cannot attract even more electron. So after that value, current becomes constant. So this explains the nature of this part of the graph. And in inverse direction, when you apply a retarding potential, negative potential, then it will repel electrons. Only most energetic electron will overcome its repulsive force and few electron will go through emitter, and so reading of current will decrease when retarding potential is there, and finally at certain potential the current becomes zero. So this is how all the observations made by Wilhelm Helmholtz and Philipp Lenard is explained by Einstein's equation in a very nice way. Now you will find that these quanta of light has momentum and has energy also. Energy is equal to mc square hc by lambda, and momentum energy is equal to hc by lambda and momentum is equal to h by lambda. So you see that this quanta of light has both momentum and energy, as a particle has momentum and energy. So you can say that quanta of light is actually a particle of light. So you can say that particle or nature of light is established. So you can say that when light interacts with any metal or material, it behaves like particle. Otherwise, it behaves like wave. So light has dual nature. Now, one last thing that you will find in this Einstein's photoelectric equation, this slope, when you compare the two, this slope is a constant because here h is a Planck's constant and E is charge on an electron. So this complete slope is a constant for any metal. Here slope means this angle.